Welcome everybody, this is Jason, and this week we're doing the Illustrated Man. This is part 2. This is a follow-up to last week's workshop, and this is about creating body overlays, but this part focuses specifically on the overlay box. Last week we did how to build all of the resources in the overlay itself, and we're going to see how to configure the box so that we can apply the overlay to the sim. So let's get rolling. Cloning an overlay box. The first part of building a custom overlay box is to clone from a template. To get started, open SimPE, go to the Object Workshop pane and click Open. Open the template box, the one that I provided in the resource post. Leave the settings as is and click Next. Give the new box a title, a price, and a description and click Finish. Save the new box with a unique name. Usually I just go with $0 because that's kind of the standard. I don't set a new price, I just give it a title and description. The OBJD. Select the OBJD in the resource tree, and then again in the resource list. In the OBJD plugin, give the object a unique GUID, as you would with any object, then commit and save. Now select the TXTR in the resource tree, and again in the resource list. In the TXTR plugin, right-click on the image, then select Build DXT in the dropdown. Click the Open Image link in the pop-up and load your custom texture. Make sure that DXT5 or DXT3 format is selected and that none is selected in the second dropdown. Click Build and commit and save your changes. The TRCN. The TRCN is a set of labels for your beacons. By default, they aren't included in the overlay box template, but they're easy to add. So first you would select the beacon in the resource tree and again in the resource list. This is something I've found through experience. Way back in the day, Quintessia's tutorial was the industry standard, but this was something that I found out by myself. It wasn't something that I learned from Quintessia's tutorial. So this is just an extra step to make it easier for you to add overlays. This tells you what part of which overlay you're adding. In the BCON plugin, click on the Make Labels button. This will build a new TRCN with the same instance number as a beacon. Then just click Done. Select the new TRCN in the resource tree and then again in the resource list. In the TRCN plugin, select the first line, that's label 0. In the text box, add the name of the first overlay and then parentheses last. For label 1, change it to the name of the first overlay plus parentheses first. And then we would continue adding labels for all of the overlays that we need. Commit and save the TRCN. The beacon. Now we select the beacon in the resource tree and again in the resource list. Select line 0 in the beacon plugin. Then from our notes last week, we look for the collection instance. We copied the last 4 characters of the instance, of the collection instance, and we paste those over the original values in line 0, in the hex box, not the decimal box, of line 0. And then we go back, we copy the first 4 from the collection instance and we paste those in line 1. So it's kind of backwards. We're referencing the first part of the collection instance last and the last part first. Then we repeat that for any other collection instances that we're adding, and then we commit and save the beacon. Now we select the behave in the resource tree and behave 1002. That's add tattoo overlay 1 in the resource tree. Then we're checking the first command line, that's command line 0. It should point to the last half of the collection instance for the first overlay. And if you look below the operands in the details, we can see that it is. We're referencing the last half of Maxis Sport overlay 1 in this example. Then we check line 1, we check line 4, and we check line 5. We make sure that all of those are pointing to the correct beacons. Finally, we select the TTAS in the resource tree and then again in the resource list. Then starting from line 0, we add and remove strings for each of the overlays that we're going to add. And we just commit and save. In the TTAB, we'll make sure that each string in the TTAS points to the correct behave. For every add and remove, we need to make sure that that's pointing to the correct interaction, and then we just commit and save. Let's put it to the test. We go to Object Workshop. We click on Open, grab the test overlay box, and I'm just going to call this copy that like so, paste that like so. We add a description, click on Finish, and we rename the scene graph. And I'm just going to save that. No, I'm just going to give it a new name. Just like that. And we hop back over to the plugin view. I'm just going to go to my GUID spreadsheet. Copy that. And paste it over like so. Commit. Save. And then we need to go to the TXTR. So grab the TXTR in the resource tree, in the resource list, then build DXT, open the image, grab the image that I provided, that's in the resource post, then we just click on build. We don't need to adjust the DXT format because that's good, and it did not sharpen or anything. It just retained its integrity. We commit, and we can save. Okay, so now we need to add TRCN. Let's select the beacon in the resource tree, and once again in the resource list. There's a button here that says Make Labels. Just click on that, and you're going to see a pop-up just like that that says Done. We click Done. And now, if you look at the instance value of this beacon 1001, you can see that there's a TRCN right below it, and that also has an instance value of 1. So grab that in the resource tree and grab it in the resource list. So for this one, I'm going to call it, we're working from line 0 here, so we select line 0 in the plugin, and that's where we're at. Maxis Sport.
Okay.
overlay 1, and then parentheses last. And I'm just going to copy that because I don't like typing all of that. Then we paste over and we change.
Last. Okay.
Yep. So now we're on line 1, and I'm just going to rewrite first.
Oh, okay. I'm going to copy
So we
that.
got last, and then we've got first. Then in line 2, just going to paste that like that. And I'm going to change this to 2, and I copy it again. And in line 3, just paste that over and change it to first. We only have 2 overlays, so that's as far as I'm going to go. But in this case, you have, because you use the button here, you have 1 label for every line of your BCON.
Okay.
So each of these lines corresponds to 1 line in the BCON. So we can add up to 10 labels, I believe. We commit.
Okay.
And we save.
Okay. I'm up to speed then.
I'm done with that. Then open your notes from last week.
Alrighty.
Go down to where it says collection instance. And I've got my own here because I created another overlay in the previous workshop, so I'm just going to put both of those into this box. So we grab the last 4 characters of overlay 1. We go to the BCON, select the BCON in the resource list, and we grab Maxis Sport Overlay 1 last. And then in the hex box, we just paste those values right over like that. Then we grab the 0x and the first 4 characters, and we select line 1 or the first half of Maxis Sport Overlay 1. We paste that just like that. And then we do the same thing with Maxis Sport Overlay 2. We grab the last 4 characters and we paste over. And we grab the first 4 characters and we paste over.
Okay.
Commit, save, and that's the BCON. Now, we select the behave in the resource tree, and we skip function main, we skip function init, we go to add tattoo overlay 1. This is the one that we need to pay attention to. So we select command line 0. We look down here, and it is indeed referencing our TRCN that we just created. It says Maxis Sport Overlay 1 last. We check line 1, and it's adding the first half. And then we check line 4, and it's adding the last half. And we check line 5, and it's adding the first half. Okay, so the add interaction for the first one is fine. We do the same thing with remove. Overlay 1 last half, overlay 2 first half, overlay 1 last half, and overlay 1 first half. Now we select this behave, add tattoo overlay 2. And we just do the same. We check line 0. We check line 1. We check line 4. And we check line 5. And we do the same thing with the remove. Line 1. Or sorry, line 0, line 1, line 4, and line 5. Okay, and our behaves are good.
I have a question. What is that add tattoo overlay -test? Is that
is a guardian behave. So that's like, this is let me see. What is it? Okay, it's a guardian. It's checking if okay you already have a plant sim or werewolf overlay, so it won't add it
Oh,
if you do.
gotcha. Okay, interesting. Cool.
I think this was one of the ones that Quintessia originally added to it.
Hmm.
And just to be extra fancy, I'm going to change the file names on those. So this is I believe my first one is blue and orange. I will go back and double check.
Right. I think I only have one overlay, the one that we did last time. So
Okay.
would I need to?
That's no, that's I mean just do
Okay.
whatever you've got. I did this workshop previously, so I have a leftover.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have two overlays, so I'm adding both because it's just easier to do it that way. And then this one is 83. So instead of saying tattoo overlay 2, it's saying specifically what this one is. Okay, so we created a new GUID in the overlay box, or in the OBJD. We
Hmm.
replaced the
Hmm.
TXTR. We added a TRCN, and we added labels to the TRCN. We edited the BCON. We checked the BHAVs. So I've got two more steps. So go to
Okay.
the TTAS in the resource tree, grab it once again in the
Okay.
resource list, and we're going to update the strings. We'll just apply overlay blue and orange, remove overlay blue and orange, apply overlay 83, and remove overlay 83. Commit, and that's a TTAS. Then the TTAB. Okay, here we've got add blue and orange, and you see it has this guardian. It has this uh, for the action behave. It's pointing to add
Oh.
blue and orange, but for the guardian behave, it's pointing to add tattoo overlay test. So it's running that test. If you are either of those two types of sim, you can't run this action behave.
So would you add that guardian behave to all of the ones?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
And then we've got
Okay.
blue and orange. We've got it's pointing to remove blue and orange. Then we've got apply overlay 83, and it's pointing to the add behave for 83. And here remove 83, and it's pointing to remove for 83. And I am just going to delete these extra interactions from the TTAB because we're not using them for this workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So we've only got the 4 interactions. We commit, we save, and we're ready to test. Okay, so we we place the overlay box, and now we're going to test it. And don't freak out if it takes a while. I use a lot of overlays, so it takes a while to read the beacons. It's just
Oh,
scrolling through all of the beacons, and it's eventually going to apply it. And
okay.
it's thinking. There it is.
Miss. Sports ball.
And
There.
there it is.
Nice. Apply overlay. Wait, I need to put them in their underwear probably.
Let's Okay, let's remove that one and let's apply the one that we created last week. There it is.
I have a lot of tattoos. Oh, nice. Okay. So yeah, it works for me. On her,
And
it works. Yay!
it does. It's
I'm
yeah,
happy.
if you're new to creating overlays, the first bit, like the part that we covered last week, creating the skin, it's largely trial and error. So
Uh-huh.
you're going to break a couple. You have to break some eggs to make an omelet. So
Hmm.
if that
Yeah.
ever happens, just don't worry about it. Just go back and start again. Most likely
Okay.
you miss one or two tiny changes, but
Mhm.
it's faster just to recreate the entire thing than to find which
Settle
change
it.
you're missing.
Okay.
And that's it.